Earlier this month, Adam Gartrell's article flashed up on my phone screen as I walked between hospital wards in which critically unwell children are congested 3 to a bed in rural Kenya. The title, Ignorant and Ugly, Australian Social Media Attitudes to an African Disaster, stopped me in my tracks, a combination of surprise that the devastation I am bearing witness to each day was reaching our isolated nation's news cycle, and utter sorrow to see it had conjured such abhorrent comments on social media. It painted our nation as one in which our citizens are devoid of empathy or Ubuntu. Currently, vast areas of East Africa are in the grip of a famine emergency, with 16 million people on the brink of starvation and in desperate need of food, water and medical treatment. By contrast, in Australia, our supermarkets grown with choice water pours freely from a tap, leaving us oblivious to its scarcity elsewhere, and free, high-quality medical care is a basic human right. It seems for many it is impossible to relate to the millions of people existing, not living, just existing, in deplorable and desperate conditions on the other side of the world. Poll reveals 85% of Americans oblivious to hunger in Africa and Middle East read more that this famine has been caused by the strongest El Niño on record, driven by Western carbon emissions and crazed capital consumption which burns through natural resources our governments have quite literally pulled from under the feet of African people. Seems an irony too complex for many to comprehend. Plundering oil from Nigeria, gold from West Africa and diamonds from the Congo under legal systems established in the colonial period which continue to leave African nations one step behind, we trap the continent in poverty. Following centuries of exploitation, how can these countries generate their own gross domestic product without a functional national economy, building infrastructure, roads to transport emergency food supplies, schools to educate the next generation, adequately staffed health systems equipped with life-saving drugs, remains impossible? Gartrell's article exposes the fact that the comfort of our well-resourced lifestyle seems to act as a barrier to exercising empathy. As an Australian pediatric doctor working in Kenya, I have the opportunity to connect with the children and families behind the statistics on a daily basis. Each day I observe the parent-child bond that I know well as a mother of 4 children, that deep, primitive yearning to love, protect and care for your child. On the ward where I work, mothers and fathers rotate in shifts around the clock to swat the flies from their children's comatose bodies, sitting in plastic chairs 4 hours on end, willing them to open their eyes, squeezing their hands and massaging their arms with desperation, hoping their child will be one of the lucky ones to survive. One of the common themes in the vitriolic responses to articles about the famine describes this as a process of natural selection, nature's way of punishing African people for having too many children.